I think, is in search of a niche. The question I asked myself was, what is a niche? What's that specialized market that I'm going to search for? And what I'm going to talk to you about is about business entrepreneurship. I believe there's a business in everyone, and it's up to us to discover the business in us. Now, what is this business? Every time we hear people talking about business, business, business. My son said to me, Mommy, what's a niche? And I said, a niche is that, specialized market. What's a market? A market is where people go, they buy and sell. And that's the business. You're doing something commercially viable and it's profitable as well. So, how do we discover this business in us? What is that, gift? Reverend talked about gift. What's that talent that's in us that we are yet to discover? It's usually that something we enjoy doing so much, and we're also good at it. There's a sister here, Sister Yetunde, she's good at singing. And I'm sure she enjoys doing it so much. And there's no greater satisfaction like doing something that you enjoy doing and getting a reward, getting paid for it. I envy the footballers for just kicking a ball. David Beckham enjoys doing it so much, yet he's being paid millions. And now I think he's playing for a team in France. And for him to come up and say, I'm not going to take a salary. I donate my salary to a charity. That means he must have got some reward from it. So what is that niche? What is that business in us? What is that gift? What is that talent? Now, I've put down a few tips to unleash this business in us. My first point is find your passion and make a business out of it. How do you find your passion? We need a lot of energy as an entrepreneur. But when you have the passion, and then the energy comes. My sister there has the passion to sing. So each time I'm sure there's a note or, there's music, I'm sure the energy just comes. Even when we've done inspiration night, we've done Take It By Force, she would wait for a choir practice. And then on Sunday, first thing she's here. Because she's got this passion to sing, then obviously, the energy would come. So if you've got this passion for something, you've got this gift, you've got this talent, you just want to see it come into fruition, then obviously, you're never tired. I'm sure all these, what do they call them? These rappers, they don't get tired. And yet we see how much money they make for just, stringing up some rap notes. So I'd encourage us all, if there's this passion, if there's this gift, if there's this talent in us, we just have to try and discover it. And my second tip to unleash the business in us is that we should step out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we're so comfortable doing what we're doing. A few years ago, I was comfortable in the job I'd done for 14 years. And then the company closed down. I was made redundant. But I must say now, looking back now, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I made up my mind, I'm going to go into business. I'm going to work for myself. And since then, I've never looked back. Opportunities come. Life gives us the opportunities. It's up to us to make something out of them. So what are these opportunities to discover this business in us? Opportunities are, I'd say, are just, favorable conditions that come out of the, the environment that we live in. Opportunities for a business could be your competitor going down. It could be a business idea, but, you thought about it, nothing happened. And then the government, you hear about, startup programs. The government is encouraging entrepreneurship, self-employment, Sister Bami said. But, that's an opportunity. You might think, Why should I be self-employed? When you're self-employed, you work for yourself. And you have to kind of like motivate yourself, because you know that whatever you make, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it's you. So I'd say we should make use of the opportunities. And also we should be strong, we should be confident. It's not easy to have an idea, but also we have to believe in the idea, believe that yes, it will work. At the start, it might not be smooth, because obviously, if you're going into business, you might not know, what the market for that business is. But what I always say is examine yourself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And then there's these opportunities. So I'd use my strengths to make use of the opportunities. If this is what I'm good at and there's an opportunity there in the community, then I'd make sure that, I look up some JSNA. They call them Joint Strategic Needs Assessment. Every borough has got a JSNA where they take surveys of what the people in the community need. And then, it could be like Christian Media Forum. It's a community forum where people could come together. So that's another, needs that they're meeting for the community. Also, what we should get is sound advice from a mentor. As Sister Bami said, every young person needs a mentor. I have mentors, not just one mentor. And my mentor is who I take critical advice from. It tells me that, yes, you don't do it this way. It's like, you're in uni and you have like your supervisor. When I was doing my research, I had my supervisor. After I've written, paid loads of, gathered all my information. And then he'll just say, no, you don't write it like this. I don't like how that reads, So obviously we have to have a mentor, someone who's been there. They've done it. They've seen it. They've been into business. They've fallen. They've started again. They've gone into every sector, every industry. Or it could be that, that sector or industry you want to go into, the person might just have that knowledge. It might have that skill. It could be like, where do I get the finance from? Oh, I know a bank manager at Barclays, So all these are the things that we need. Someone that, you can go back to and say, how would I work? How do I go about this? How do I file my tax returns? How can I get a good accountant? How could I get a sound tax advice? These are all things that you would need. And lastly, when we're starting a business, sometimes all we need is a little idea, a great idea, and just a little amount of money. Most businesses these days, especially with the economic downturn, you don't need loads of money to start a business. I say, with the social media phenomenon now, all you need is, rather than, young people getting a job, they create one. Look at what you've got in your house. What's sitting there in that cupboard? Start trading it on eBay. Start selling those old stuff on Amazon. Years and years ago, I used to do car boot sale. I don't know if you all remember when there was the car boot sale. I put all my old stuff in the back of my car, go out on a Sunday, and perhaps come back home with maybe, not much, 20p. But, thank God for the media these days and a digital camera. All I can do is, get someone to, arrange the background for me, take a picture of that shoes that you don't wear anymore, or maybe it's that handbag that you don't use anymore, and then register on eBay, put it on there. Get someone to do a starting bid for maybe, £50. And then for all you know, the money starts dribbling in. So what I'd say to you young ones, think of what you want to do and make the move. It could be, little. When most businesses start, you don't expect to make a profit. But then, you establish your contacts. You establish a trading record. So from there, word goes around. People would ask, oh, where did you get that flyer from? Who printed that flyer? It's SEARCHof Graphics. Just an example. So this is what I'd say, that, we should all try and, start from somewhere. And also, when you're setting up your business, try to have some goals. In strategic business analysis, we call it SMART. Be specific. This is what I want to go into. And this is what, I want to be, this is how I want to do it. And your goal should be measurable. Yes, okay, this is my goal, and this is how I'm going to measure it. How many clients am I going to get at the end of it? How many bags am I going to sell at the end of the month? And also make it achievable. Don't set too high a goal that you know that you're not going to be able to meet. Make it realistic. Obviously, unrealistic goals, if you've done marketing, unrealistic goals would affect the marketing department because, if you set the goals that, yes, we're going to sell 10,000 of an item and it doesn't sell, that's unrealistic. And lastly, it should be timely. It should be relevant. Whatever business you want to go into, as I said, it has to be timely, it has to be relevant. Relevant to the generation, relevant to the people, your customers, relevant to whoever you want to, your target market. So in search of a niche, what is that niche? That specialized market, that thing that makes you different. What makes iPhone different from all the other phones? What's their critical success factor? What is it that the customers want that you can't get from Samsung? You can't get from all the other phones. So what I'd say is, what we have to do is, yes, go into business, but think about it. Always try and be specific. Measure your goals. Let your goals be achievable. Let them be realistic and timely. Lastly, there's so many campaigns by the government to encourage young ones to go into business. They've got this Startup Britain. It's a very, very interesting website. I'd advise you to go up and look it up. They've also got, about startup loans there, where you can find out about loans that they're giving to 18 to 30-year-olds. If you've got a business idea that's very innovative, you can look that up as well. And also there's enterprise finance guarantee, where the business is, if you need the capital to start the business, the government can help with the loan. But this is something that you can get through the bank. The government will just kind of like guarantee the loan. And also there's Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme, which is just a scheme that is aimed to help small early stage companies to raise finance by offering significant tax relief. So, obviously if you've got that Seed Enterprise Investment scheme, if you're in that scheme and you started up a business, perhaps maybe for the first few years, you might be able to get some tax relief. In search of a niche, I hope that, what I've said will impact you. And my prayer is that the Lord Almighty will reveal a talent to us, and it will help us to develop and nurture it to His glory. Thank you.